Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of ChumChat. It's your boy Johan Gomez, alongside my co-host Chris Kushar. And today we have a very special guest, recent championship debutee with Norwich, John Tomkinson. Welcome to the pod, my boy. Of
Thank you for having me.
course, of course. And if for people who don't know, he's like us from the DFW area. Um, Born and raised, played at FC Dallas, played at Solar. Let's get into that a little bit. Obviously, I think you made your name for yourself mostly with Solar as a center back. And I don't know the full story, but I remember you from FC Dallas and you were a winger. So kind of tell me about how that came about and how your journey with FC Dallas kind of was and what you take away from that part of your career so far.
Yeah, to be honest, my time at FC Dallas, especially in the academy days, was a bit of a strange part of my career. I actually remember trying out as a center midfielder. And when the season actually got started, I got stuck out on right wing. And I didn't mind it. I started all right. I was getting a few assists here and there. But I think kind of as I got towards the end of that age group, I transitioned to right back and then center back. And I wasn't really doing a good enough job there. So FC Dallas said, you can go somewhere else. So that same day, I actually went to Solar, again as a center mid. And within, I think, 2 games at Solar, I found myself at center back because someone decided to go and play American football instead. Um, and yeah, I'm kind of grateful for all of it. FC Dallas taught me a lot. They actually really improved my technical ability and stuff playing out wide. And I do actually think that's a big part of my game now, playing on the ball, not being afraid to step in and dribble sometimes. And then yeah, Solar was just a really good ride. So I think I was from 13 till 17, I was there. And just, every season I got better and learned more. And that last season I was there, we won the national championship. So it kind of went out on a high.
Little
No, it's
quick
awesome.
flex.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of center backs who played other positions growing up always attribute their skill on the ball to playing those other positions. Obviously, that's an area that you're super successful in. Here's the real question, though. Is that your favorite position, or is that a position that you just got kind of promoted to because of your natural ability there?
Um, to be honest, I never thought I would see myself as a center back. So I actually enjoyed playing in the midfield most. I think, kind of that free roam role is always the best. But I really did enjoy the midfield. But I think since I transitioned back into center back, and then that's probably been my best position since then, I think I probably do enjoy it the most. And I like seeing everything in front of me as well. I think I find it a lot easier that way too.
Definitely.
Tell me about, I didn't know you that well when you were playing at Dallas. You're an O2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were an age group below me, but I definitely do remember, watching you train and stuff like that, or watching you play as a winger. But as a what, you said you were a solo from 13. So as a what, 12-year-old, getting told that essentially that you could find somewhere else to play, it can be tough. It can be really tough. I think,
Definitely.
Chris Richards we've had on twice. I think the story with him is crazy. FC Dallas also didn't want him originally. So, FC Dallas is known for picking out the talent, but they definitely let some slip through the cracks. But yeah, so how did you deal with that as such a young player? Like who was there to help you out to bounce back and ultimately, help you pave your career at Solar?
Yeah, to be honest, it was my dad. When I found out I was getting released, I went home and I cried. And then that same day, he's saying, "Nah, don't cry, man. We're going out to Solar tonight. We're gonna go and try out tonight. There's no time to waste," kind of thing. And he's been a really big part of it. He's always he's questioned me, and questioned my commitment and stuff like that. And I think that's only made me want to do it more. He always used to ask me, "Are you sure you want to be a professional player? Are you sure?" Because it takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of commitment. So he's always kind of, been there to drive me when I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, dads can definitely be like that. But also let me ask, because I think my brother knows you better, and if I'm not mistaken, you guys met. I'm not sure if you guys met originally at Dallas or you guys did futsal together or something like that, right?
Yeah, I definitely did. I did city futsal for a little bit when I was younger. I didn't actually enjoy it that much, to be honest, but I wasn't too bad at it, so I stuck with it for a while. That was one of those things again that my dad pushed me to do. I remember going to like the national team ID camps and stuff in Kansas as well for it. But yeah, I did futsal for probably like 2 years, 2 or 3 years.
And how much would you say it helped you, if at all, with your technical ability now?
Loads, stuff like ball rolls and everything that all comes from futsal, receiving the ball with the top of your foot and going out. So I think that that was a big part, especially when I was younger. I think if I never did that, my first touch would be completely different and, the way I receive the ball and stuff like that.
Football is back, and BET Online remains your number one source for all of your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BET Online features live betting, free contests, live scores, and all sorts of giveaways all season long.
It's always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports teams and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. You know the chums are the best at golf. But anyway, head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BT Online, where the game starts. Yeah, Jogo wanted me to ask you this also, by the way, because I told him that we were recording with you, and obviously you moved to Solar. You're doing your thing. You did really well. Obviously, like you said, you had to add the humble brag in there that you guys won the national championship, which congrats, by the way.
Yeah.
That was huge for the DFW area to show that not only FC Dallas was good, but he wanted to know, did it mean a little bit more to you when you were playing against FC Dallas, especially because in y'all's age group, it was because y'all were good. Like obviously y'all won the national championship. Y'all were good in y'all's age group. Solar, for example, wasn't good with the O1s or the OOs and stuff like that. But the O2s,
Right.
O3s were very good. And FC Dallas O2s are naturally very good. I remember it was always really good games. So did you always feel a little bit extra motivated to play a little bit better in those games?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially that first season when I was at Solar, I wanted to kind of prove to myself, oh, I'm better than you think. And then I think after that in the following years, it just became a really good rivalry. Especially because Texans weren't very competitive in our age group, it was always, Solar versus FC Dallas was the game to play. And so in that last season as well, we had never really beaten FC Dallas. Like in the entire time that I've been at Solar, FC Dallas always used to kick our ass. And so by the time we got to that last year, instead of losing games, we started drawing games. There was a couple like 1-1, 2-2 games in there, and then we got to the quarterfinal. And we had FC Dallas, and I thought, oh, this is it. We've lost. That's my time up, and I'm going to England. Um, but no, we got kind of fortunate that FC Dallas got an early red card, and it took all the way to extra time, but we managed to grind out that win. And you can see in the celebrations, not just going to the semifinals, but beating FC Dallas finally meant so much to all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, DFW is one of the hubs for American soccer. How would you say that being in that competitive environment helped shape your career, and how would you compare that culture of soccer here in the States, especially in DFW, to overseas over in the soccer capital of the world, maybe?
Yeah, competition, I think I always find competition makes things better, and that's where players grow the most. So if you're in a competitive environment, you either, it's kind of sink or swim. And so it's probably not as extreme in Dallas in terms of because there's plenty of clubs to play at. But I think, here that level only just keeps rising, because players are playing for new contracts and to stay at the club, kind of almost every day of the year because players can find out, sometimes 6 months early, before their contract's up, oh, we're not that interested
Mm-hmm.
anymore. You can start looking at other clubs. So I definitely think Dallas does a great job of being really competitive and there's a lot of good players coming out of there. But when you get to England, it's just a step up for sure.
Are the coaching styles very different as well?
Um, Yeah, I think in Dallas sometimes you can get wrapped up in a cotton ball and they don't want people to be injuring each other in training and stuff. And that's not the case here either. But I think there's a lot more focus on being physical. So the second I came to England, I'm in the gym 3, 4 times a week. Sometimes before training as well. And you get very individual plans so you can succeed yourself. And then that all carries over onto the pitch as well because we're getting stronger, we're playing more aggressive and stuff like that. And a lot of the times coaches, we just kind of let the fouls go. And that's one thing I remember from FC Dallas actually. We never called fouls in training. Sometimes, the ball would be over on the next pitch and we're still playing on because we just never called fouls to kind of get that intensity into us.
Yeah.
Well, that was a Felipe thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, Felipe never used to call fouls. I remember me and I think it was me and Chris Hernandez. It was raining as well, just absolutely scrapping on the other pitch, and no fouls being called, and we're still going at it.
Yeah, I remember like because sometimes we'd finish before you guys are finished, and we'd be walking past the pitch, and we'd see the ball would be by the bench, and it was hella dangerous because obviously the bench is right there, and there's just two
Yeah.
players just scrapping, and Felipe just standing there like encouraging y'all to fight for it. So I don't know, that was interesting. But you said, and I just want to kind of know your journey because I guess I don't know that well, but you said that when you were about to play FC Dallas in the quarters, you were like, all right, this is it. I'm headed to England. So did you know already you were off to England before y'all this whole journey to the national championship and all that stuff?
Yeah, I did. So Solar were nice enough to let me go on trials kind of, the whole time I was there. So I actually had previous trials to Norwich. So I think when I was 15, I went over, I had a trial at Ipswich and I also had a trial at West Brom. And so that got split up into kind of different times a year. Both teams said not interested. And then in that last year, I went over during spring break. So I went for spring break and then the following week after. So I was happy. I was missing a week of school. Um, but yeah, in that week, I found out that they wanted to offer me a 2-year contract. So I kind of came back knowing like I'm gonna sign this contract in 3 months here. So I kind of knew my time was coming to an end then.
So I noticed the elephant. You have a bit of an Andrew Tate, a little bit of a mixed accent there. Do you have family over in the UK, or and did that help attribute your choice to go over there and trial over there?
Yeah, definitely. So my dad is he's from the bad side of England as Norwich fans will look at it, is he's from Suffolk. So all of his family are Ipswich supporters and stuff like that. So things can
Oh
get a
wow.
bit chaotic. As that's a very big rivalry. But yeah, so he's fully English, grew up there. So I've always been around that accent my whole life. I used to have summers in England as a kid to visit my grandparents and stuff as well. But I do think it's probably gotten a little bit stronger since I'm around it every day.
But you view yourself as more of an American, or
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in Dallas and stuff like that. Spent most of my life there. Played for USA a few times as well in the younger age group. So I definitely consider myself American.
definitely. So who wins when we
USA.
play
I
each
gotta
other?
back.
There you go.
I
All
gotta
right,
back
just
USA.
want to make sure. Just want to make
Yeah.
sure.
What'd you think of the roster job yesterday?
It was it's kind of what I expected for the most part. I do think I was caught a bit off guard by like a couple of the defender picks. I didn't really think that Shaq Moore would have made it into there, but fair play to him. He's working hard for it. I think everyone in there has worked really hard to earn their spot and stuff like that. And I think it's exciting as well. We haven't had a World Cup in ages, so I think the boys are going to be really motivated to do well.
No thoughts on Pepi?
That one did catch me by surprise. I thought Pepe would be in there, especially because he's off to a pretty decent start this season as well. So yeah, there's probably a few more MLS guys in there than I expected, but fair play to them all for getting there.
Definitely.
Did you play? I had a question here. Did you play with Pepe when you were in FC Dallas?
Not with him. I played against him all the time, and I remember when he first came to FC Dallas, that guy was terrorizing the league. Scoring 5 goals a game and stuff like that. Like he came on as new kid on the block. He was sending a message to everyone.
Yeah, I guess my follow-up question was, even if you when you were at Solar, was there anyone or when you were at FC Dallas, was there anyone that you played with or played against that you were like, all right, this guy's special? And obviously it means something coming from you now. Obviously you're a professional yourself. So was there anyone that you looked at and you were like, yeah, this guy's got it?
Yeah, I remember playing. There was a few guys to be fair. Dante always really stood out at a younger age, and
I I don't
we
know
kind of
why.
always.
I don't know why, Bryce. I knew you're gonna say Dante. He was kind of always just like a physical specimen, though, especially for like the younger guys.
Yeah, because he was always playing up, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
So he always kind of stood out at a younger age, and I think a lot of people questioned, oh, has he peaked too early, kind of thing, and he stayed consistent the whole way through. Um, Played against him actually in that weird year where the Nike friendlies where there were two USA teams.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but he's doing really well for himself. And to be fair, one of my friends from the national team as well, Tucker Lepley, we used to play against him at Kansas City all the time. That guy's got serious technical ability for sure.
Yeah, I know Tucker. I know Tucker. He's at UCLA now, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's doing well for himself, man. Got back on the score sheet. He's had a few injuries, but he's doing well out there.
Yeah, he's not. Isn't he also a futsal guy?
Yeah, big
Yeah,
futsal guy.
I think that's how I originally met him. But yeah, he's a good player too. Yeah. That was just an interesting one that I had because obviously, it's just crazy to see. Like, I know that we know kind of the same people. Like when Chris talks about DFW being hub, I don't know if he actually really realizes it as much as you and I do. Like, I remember Jogo playing with JP Jordan, which I know you know him, who's now
Yeah.
killing at SMU. Like,
Hmm.
I've known Bryce Bonneau, for example, since he was a little kid, and he won Gatorade Player of the Year, like
Yeah.
for soccer, which is crazy. Just players like that. We recently had Jaden Shaw on the podcast, who's like I've known her since she was like 8 years old, and she's from Dallas, and now she's killing in the NWSL. So I don't think people realize
Yeah.
how much talent there is, and it's not only players from FC Dallas, like Solar, Texans. Like there's just so much talent. It's
Yeah.
insane.
So many. Even like guys like Brian Reynolds when we were younger. Oh my goodness. He was a joke. He was massive and he was so much faster than everyone as well.
Bro, I remember we were in the U14s. I don't know. People might have forgot this. I don't know because the USMNT Twitter and all that stuff didn't exist so much back in the day. But Brian was like 14 and he would just be playing up with the U18s and scoring in
Yeah.
playoffs and everything, bro. It was crazy. I don't know. Brian's my guy, but I don't know. Maybe like signing him so early because he signed him like at 14 or something like that might have hurt
Yeah.
him a little bit
It's a
because
lot
then
of
he wasn't
pressure.
playing. Yeah, it was a lot of pressure and then he wasn't playing for a bit. But fair to say he's done well for himself and now he's doing well in Belgium.
Yeah.
But speaking about the national team now, I want to speak a little bit about that. So obviously you took a little bit of a slower route to get there, but you're very much in the picture now. Like you said, I think in those Nike friendlies that you captained the team, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That was a really proud moment as well because that was only I think that was only my third camp. And all three of those camps came in the same year as well, kind of right after I moved to England. So yeah, that was really awesome to see that because it was kind of a toss up between I think it was a toss up between me and Gilbert Fuentes. It was me, him, and Jack were the only guys who had ever been at that camp together before. So I thought surely they get it. They've been here for ages. So to see it in my seat was a really nice moment.
I mean,
Yeah.
that center back position is relatively open right now. Do you see yourself as a potential for the 2026 World Cup here back here in the States?
I definitely have my eyes on it, and there's gonna be games in Dallas too. So I think that would be a dream come true for sure.
Lots of people are rumoring that the final will be at AT&T Stadium. Man, that'd be awesome. I mean, and our squad's so young now. A lot of them will be entering their prime around that time. So who knows? Who knows?
Definitely, yeah.
Speaking, what are your expectations for us this year? You think we're going to make it out of the group? If you had to be completely and brutally honest, how far do you think the U.S. men's national team gets?
I expect us to make it out of the group. To be honest, I mean, I think one kind of character of just American players in general is just kind of their fight and their attitude towards the game. So you look at Tyler Adams and Brendan out there at Leeds. Those two are the hardest working guys on the pitch. Josh
Mm-hmm.
Sargent here at Norwich, he's known for his hard work. The guy does not stop running, and he'll keep running until his leg falls off, type of thing. Um, so I expect us to really really go for it 100%. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means, but I do expect us to get out of the group. So maybe around a 16, hopefully quarterfinals. That's kind of where I'm aiming for.
I was looking, and if we make it out of the group, we're not going to have that two difficult games. I think it might be the Netherlands or Senegal. Obviously, all going to be difficult, but I don't think we have to play any giant like Brazil, Argentina until the quarters. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Do you have a predicted? I know Brazil are the favorites right now. You have a predicted winner?
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with Brazil. I would have told you France a few weeks ago, but I think injuries are really going to hold them back this time.
You think
Definitely Conte
so?
and Pogba both out. I mean,
Yeah, man.
Pogba's a different beast for France as well. So
They're still so
Yeah.
OP though. Like, have you seen their forwards? Benzema
Yeah, their
and
forwards,
Kunku
their forwards are a
Dembele,
joke, but you
bro.
kind of need a whole team as well. And you have, Varane, who he's only just now kind of coming back from injury. You saw what he was like at Chelsea, tears in his eyes. He thought it was over. So I think that is going to hold them back a little bit, but their attack is looking dangerous for sure.
But I mean, even in the defense, if you don't have Varane, you said is just coming back, but then you have guys like Konate, Upamecano,
Yeah.
Lucas, and Theo Hernandez. I don't know. I just think it's like they're too
They
OP,
have
man.
depth. They do have depth for sure. But I
Uh,
think I still probably back in Brazil to win. They just anytime they've played this year, they've had so much, flair and just the goals don't stop flying in with them kind of thing.
yeah, they're crazy. All right.
Can we all agree real quick though? Can we all agree that a Portugal Argentina final is the dream, right?
I think that's every football fan's dream, to see Ronaldo versus Messi, kind of, the last dance type of vibe.
But if
Who you
Portugal, if
got in that game?
Argentina for sure.
I'm going for Portugal. I'm Team Ronaldo.
Wow, wow.
My thing is Portugal will only make it that far if Ronaldo takes a back seat, which
I
nobody wants to
agree.
see. But
Yeah,
I agree.
that's the only
I don't
way.
know. I don't know. Maybe he did. Last World Cup, that guy went crazy, and I think he kind of brought them out of the group.
Oh, he did. But even last year, Portugal had such a different team. Like now you've seen guys emerge. Like obviously Diogo Jota's injured, but he wasn't there like last World Cup. Bernardo Silva is a different beast now. Like all those players are
Yeah,
Ruben Diaz.
Definitely.
So they have a way different team now. But I think Argentina is just like I've seen bits and pieces of that one documentary that released, and I feel like they're just also like locked in on doing anything that it takes for Messi to win. That it's like that's
yeah,
so powerful. I feel like I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I want to flip back to Norwich a little bit. And I want you to help me explain something because I've always been kind of confused with the England setup. I swear they have U19s, U20s, U21s, U23s, second team, Premier League 2. Like I'm mad confused by all of that stuff. So you got to tell me how the pyramid works there because I have
yeah.
no idea.
So it's not actually as confusing as you think. So it goes. They've changed it now this year. So it was, kind of every age group up to U16s, and then after U16s, it jumps to U18s, and then from there it jumps to U23s, which is kind of seen as a B team or your reserves. So that's why it's called Premier League Two. The thing where it gets complicated is there's two divisions of Premier League Two. So you have PL2 Div 1 and PL2 Div 2. And the way that kind of works is like each club, their academies are ranked between category 1 and 4. So category 1 academies are the ones that play in all of those PL2 divisions. So it's pretty much all the Premier League teams, and then you have a few clubs that aren't Premier League. So like last year, um, when Nottingham Forest, before they got promoted, they were still a category 1 academy and stuff like that. And Norwich right now, we're not in the Premier League, but we're a Category 1 academy. And then you get like smaller clubs like Charlton is Category 2. But they're very competitive down there and stuff like that. And then they also have like tournaments where different categories can play against each other. So there's the Premier League Cup, which Charlton compete in and Norwich did last year. Well, not this year. I'm not really sure why that is. And then there's also the EFL Trophy, which isn't to be confused with EFL Cup, which is like the first team tournament. So EFL Trophy is where Category 1 academies will play against lower league first teams. So when we were last in it, we were playing against teams like Plymouth Argyle, who are League One, MK Dons, who are League One as well. And then I think we had Newport in our group, who are League Two. And so that's to kind of get, younger teams experience against first teams. So to kind of prepare you for that transition.
Yeah,
Definitely. I mean,
Mans was like,
obviously,
man said this isn't complicated at all. I just went to say the most complicated thing I've ever heard in my life.
The age
But
group thing's not complicated.
he's a
The games
whiteboard.
and the tournaments are complicated for
no,
sure.
I actually was gonna ask about that last thing you talked about though, because I swear that was blowing my mind how I was seeing like second teams playing against first
Mhm.
teams and like trophies and stuff like that. So that was kind of I've never seen that before, but I guess you kind of explained it now. It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like at the kind of so the under 18 level is considered scholar, so you're getting paid kind of like a very low monthly wage. And then once you hit that under 23s, which is now under 21s, you're professional, you're on professional terms there. So I think that's kind of why that those second teams or under 21 teams can play against first teams because it's a fully professional match at that point.
Obviously, pro rel is a big discussion here in the States. Do you think the United States stealing a system like that might help us out, just in your experience being a little bit in both?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the system in America is bad. I think the problem is because playing in college and university is so big, it's kind of like you take away from the college system if you introduce, a U21 league and stuff like that, because there are definitely players who are, 20 years old and stuff like that. Whereas if that was to happen in America, people are, in their sophomore year of college and stuff like that. So
Definitely.
you do end up taking away from an environment for sure, but I think you can kind of maybe adapt that university environment to kind of take on that role.
I gotcha. So I read, speaking of the U23s, I read you became captain of the team. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did. So my first full season in the U23s, well, not I was kind of towards the end of that. So yeah, first full season, the last kind of 6 months, I took on, role of being captain, and last year I was, kind of officially given the armband. So that was really nice. I do like to think leadership is one of my better qualities for sure, and so I don't mind being that guy to help people out if they have a question or stuff like that, or to do extra work with someone as well if they need it.
Definitely. So that helps tie into my next question. I mean, as somebody who hasn't, obviously, I'm not a professional soccer player like you two gentlemen. As someone who hasn't been there, how does that whole process work? Do you get elected? Does the coach outright pick you? Is it something where it just feels right? And then besides what we see on TV, just bartering with the refs, what kind of roles do you have to uptake as a captain?
Yeah, so usually that's kind of decided by the coach. Sometimes people do vote, I think only in like younger age groups, but definitely in the professional world, it seems to be decided by a manager. Um, but it's as the captain, it's kind of important. You have to always be that guy who's composed, and you have to be pretty knowledgeable about the game as well, because people are always going to come to you with questions, about certain scenarios. So you have to have a fairly broad knowledge of what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's harmful to the team if you don't. And it's you're also kind of that bridge between the team and the manager. So
Mhm.
if guys have questions for the manager, but they don't want to ask it because they're a bit shy, or if they're afraid it might come off in the wrong way, you're kind of that bridge, and the manager will also use it that way as well. So it's like even mid game, the manager might shout over, "Hey, tell him to push higher on because we need to chase the game," and stuff like that. So I definitely think that's a big part of it.
As a captain, how do you deal with someone who doesn't respect your leadership?
It's tough. I haven't really encountered that, but I think I consider myself the type of leader. I'm not really the guy who's gonna be a drill sergeant and stuff like that, and try and make people feel bad or anything. So it's kind of like if you're gonna go in the opposite direction of me, you're probably harming yourself, because I've always kind of had the coach's backing as a captain. So if you're not really agreeing with me, you're kind of disagreeing with the coach as well, and that can end up kind of being harmful to your situation at a club.
Gotcha.
So
So I mean,
man's was just like, the coach backs me. So if you want to do your own thing, yeah, you can do your own
Yeah,
thing.
it's like if
But
you disagree with me, you disagree with coach, and you can find out how that works out for you.
so I mean, Johan knows firsthand, moving abroad can be extremely difficult. Obviously, you have family over there, which helps a lot. Do you have like a best friend on the team, and how has being captain of the team helped you form bonds and friendships with other players after having to leave everything behind over here in DFW?
Yeah, so to be honest, it hasn't been that bad for me at all. So I think the roughest point I had was last year. I couldn't come home for Christmas for the first time, and then that one really hurt me a bit. But yeah, that's kind of the world I'm stepping into. But all the boys here, ever since I signed this guy Tony Springett, he's still my teammate now. He's kind of always been my best friend. He was the first guy I met, and me and him just really get on. We're really tight. But all of us boys, not many people in our team, like in the younger age groups, or especially in the first team, are actually from Norwich. So we're all in the same situation. So especially in the
Hmm.
younger age groups, we always, some of us live together. Like I live with one of the under 21s. And we're always doing things together. So, we'll go from seeing each other at training to, oh, let's go out for food tonight and stuff like that. And all of that. So we don't get forced to be friends, but that's just kind of the way it always plays out.
That's awesome. Do you have any relationship with Josh? Are you guys close, or how's that work?
Yeah, yeah. Me and Josh are good friends. We're always talking and hanging out and stuff at training. To be fair, he was saying he wants to go and play golf with me, but I'm not very good, so I need to go and have a bit more practice at the driving range before I go with him.
well, I'm not,
Golf's the best because it's the one sport, right? It's the one sport you'll be better at when you're 65 than you are now. So you might as well pick up
Definitely.
the clubs and get started.
Yeah, I know. I went for a round in preseason in Germany with them. That was like my first time on a course, and oh my God, I was so bad. I was getting better as I went, but I think it's one of those things I really got to stick at it if I'm actually gonna get any good.
Definitely.
bro. I'm in the same boat as you. I go back home and golf with Chris, or I golf with Tanner a couple times, and those guys are different gravy. Like I said, like you think golf is easy, but you get there like with the actual guys, and then you're like, damn, you realize that it's actually not that easy. But How has it been stepping into the first team, by the way? Has it, because I know it depends on the club and kind of who the players are. Sometimes it can be like they can kind of shun the younger players out, treat them like rookies, make them do this or that. Or sometimes they're very welcoming and kind of, just accept you as one of the guys. What has your experience been like in that sense?
It's been good, to be honest. And I think partly because when I really got introduced into the first team, I always kind of had a younger boy next to me as well who was coming up at the same time. So like last preseason, the year before this, I was doing it with one of my old teammates, Dan. So I had someone there, and then this preseason, I think it was like five of us under 21s all went on preseason tour and stuff like that. So I always had people around me. But the older guys are definitely very welcoming. Their only version of treating us as young boys is like if we're on an away trip or something. So obviously everyone sings on their first away trip, and then it'll be little things like if you're going for a coffee, you end up getting dragged into making a coffee for like 8 guys or something. But no, they treat us all really well, and they're always more than happy to help us learn and stuff like that.
Sounds like you're having a great time there. Are you Norwich for life now, or did you have a favorite team growing up that you dreamed to play for? Do you see yourself somewhere different in like 5 years time, and where could that be?
I mean, I have no idea where I'll be in 5 years. I'm definitely very happy here right now, but I always kind of grew up watching Man United. So that's kind of always been the team I followed. So that's probably a dream for me one day. But I have no intentions of leaving here anytime soon. And I would like to definitely build and start a career here for sure.
You're in the mud right now after that Villa loss, but we can respect it.
I know, man. It's been such an up and down ride for the last like 5 years.
It's all good, man. At least the goat came back. They tried to wrestle him to the ground, didn't work. So you at least have that to stand on after that last game.
I know, man. Ronaldo homecoming made me happy, but it's been rough for him as well this year.
Definitely, definitely. So
Great.
we do something here. We call it just some rapid fire questions. We timed it in the past. The timing is we've let go of it. So I don't think the spirit of competition is there anymore. So essentially
All
what we do is we just ask you 20 questions. Just answer as quickly as you can. Don't elaborate. It doesn't necessarily have to be yes or no, but no elaboration. I'm gonna run through them. Just try to answer them as quickly as you can. I know.
No, 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 no. I want to say something though. I want to say something though.
Yeah,
It
go
is
ahead. Go ahead.
time though. It is time though. You're trying to beat these guys. I think Paxton Aronson is top of our board right now. So you got to beat him. So
All right, cool. I'm
be
gonna be
fast,
quick.
but give us good answers though. Give us
All
good
right,
answers,
cool.
but be quick.
I don't know, man. No, just so you know, JT, nobody came within like 2 minutes of Paxton. So
2 minutes.
no, Paxton's waxed
Oh,
everybody. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna just run through them, answer them as fast as you can. All right, brother.
all right, let's get it.
All righty. First one. Who was your favorite player growing up?
Paul Scholes,
Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't apologize for anything.
Who wins the World Cup?
Brazil. Ugh.
Favorite thing to do besides soccer?
Xbox.
Favorite food?
Chick-fil-A.
Favorite non-soccer sports team?
Dallas Mavericks.
Let's go, dude. Who do you spend the most time with?
Jaden Warner. I live with him.
There you go. Do you have any game day superstitions?
No.
Alrighty. Start, bench, cut. Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, or Virgil van Dijk?
Start Rio Ferdinand. Bench John Terry. Cut Van Dyke.
And GOAT U.S. men's national team player.
Landon Donovan.
Which one of your teammates has the most riz?
Oh. Jaden. Probably Jaden.
Your dream player to play with?
Oh. Dream player to play with. Ronaldo, I guess. Yeah.
Your biggest pet peeve?
Losing games. Hate it. Can't stand it.
Favorite city that you've traveled to?
Probably LA.
Are there any non-footballers that you'd like to have as a teammate?
Any non-footballers I like to have as a teammate? Speed.
Song you have on repeat right now?
Marie, Sleepy Hollow,
Celebrity crush.
Madison Beer.
Is English food as bad as they say?
No, but it's definitely not nearly as good as American food.
Alrighty. Coach tells you you aren't in the match day squad. What emoji would describe your reaction?
You know that one where it's like sad, but it's not crying, it's just like mad down.
Yeah, we'll have our editor flash it up on the screen. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That was actually a decent time.
The time's gotta be good. It has to
No,
be
that
good.
was good.
2 minutes 28 seconds. I don't think you beat Paxton, but you were close. You were
Oh,
close.
Bro, how
I'll
did
take a
Paxton
podium.
do that?
I don't know, bro. Mez was just. Honestly, I don't even think he was going that fast either, but I guess he was. Who knows?
Wasn't it low-key my fault though? Because I gave him like 17 questions instead of 20.
Something
Did we
like
ever ask
that,
how
yeah.
much time on it?
So he was cheating basically.
Yeah, he was low-key cheating. He was
Alright,
low-key
then.
cheating.
The
Cool.
guy Venmo'd me like a couple $100 before the podcast, so I had to slide for my boy.
I
So-
really guess like that.
People don't know this, and I actually don't know this either, so you're gonna have to educate me a little bit. And we asked that Rio Ferdinand question because we know you have some kind of tie to him, right? What's the relationship there?
Yeah, so we actually have the same agent, so we're tied down at the same agency. And to be fair, my agents are really good with kind of having not a program, but like putting mentors out there for younger players. And I'm fortunate to be at an agency that has lots of, has a very good track record with defenders. So, they've got guys like Rio. Ben Godfrey's given me advice before over at Everton. Anton as well, Rio's brother, he's given me loads of advice, which actually really helped me a lot last season. So it's been really nice to kind of work with these guys, and they really those are the people I think are most in my corner who want to see me succeed.
So you'd really start JT. You're just being nice to Rio because you know him.
No, I think, for me, especially I grew up watching Man United. Him and Vidic at the back were a joke. I loved watching them. I think them and then Sergio Ramos were my favorite defenders to watch growing up.
But I mean, you weren't even a defender until later, though. You're telling me you weren't like looking at attacker, you weren't watching attackers and stuff instead?
Nah, I was watching attackers, but when you see like, Vidic tackling somebody with his head, it's kind of hard to miss.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right, now I want to before we wrap this up, I want to ask you a couple things real quick. First of all, I want to ask you, how are you feeling during the time that you made your championship debut? Were there any, nerves? Did you kind of did you have the shakes in your legs a little bit, or did you go out pretty clear-headed?
It was weird. I was nervous the entire day leading up to the game. And then, as soon as that whistle blew, everything just went away. I was just kicking the ball, having fun, doing what I love. So yeah, all the nerves went straight out the window as soon as the game started.
Do you have any kind of interesting story as to how you found out you were going to play or anything like that?
No, not really. It's not that interesting. We have a meeting every morning before a game. And especially on away days, the meeting's in the morning. And when we're at home, the meeting's at pre-match and stuff like that. So yeah, that's when I found out. I didn't tell anyone. I told like 2 people that I was playing, because I didn't want to deal with any messages before the game. So, I didn't even tell my parents. I knew my dad would see it just because he checks the lineups all the time. But yeah, I really told nobody because I just wanted to stay focused and locked in.
I like that. I can appreciate that for sure. And I want to ask you, obviously, we had talked about how you dealt with the fact that, you dealt with rejection a little bit at FC Dallas and then, channeling that forward into your career at Solar and now, doing everything that you're doing. I saw you got injured maybe last year, I think around 2021. And now, I mean, you're channeling your energy forward into, being with Norwich's first team and all that stuff. So for the kids out there that are listening, what kind of advice can you give them as to how to deal with adversity and power forward through it?
I think the biggest thing is just to focus on yourself. I think especially if you're not playing or if you're getting rejected, released and stuff like that, don't be distracted by what other people are doing because everybody's pathway is different at the end of the day. You have some guys who make debuts at 16 and, other guys, they don't make a debut till 20. And you have guys like, Jamie Vardy didn't really get to the Premier League until he was like 27 or something. So I think the biggest thing is just to focus on yourself. And the more you focus on you, I think that's where the most improvement is. it's kind of that you versus you mentality. Don't worry about what other people are doing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple questions as well too. One, obviously, the one that everybody's been waiting for. You said you play Xbox. What are you playing lately?
Pro clubs. Pro clubs is my game. I've been playing with a few of the boys back home. And then a bit of Fortnite too. That game never dies for me. It's always that one you can chill on and not
A
take
little
too
nostalgic.
serious.
Wait.
Yeah,
Who do you
yeah.
play pro clubs with? Who do you play pro clubs with?
I've been playing with the UCLA boys a bit. So I've been playing with Tucker, his teammate Tyler, and then we've been playing with Noah Beck as well. He's been playing with us.
Okay, there you go. Well, I guess I have to probably challenge you because me and Joe will play. Cole Basson might be joining our squad, so we might have to run it back. We have to run it back, see what's up.
I'm the best striker FIFA Pro Clubs has ever seen. I'm telling you, bro. Last year, I played over 300 games of it, scored like 500 goals and everything. I'm crazy.
I guess we'll have to see. Maybe I have to put some money. Maybe I have to put some money down. We'll see.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. You let me know.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
The next question, I think you answered that beautifully. The next question here at ChumChat, our motto is success defined. That's our staple question that we ask every single guest that we have. For you specifically, how would you define success? And then do you think you've achieved it yet?
I think success is achieving your dreams. And I think, outside of that, it's also, are you happy with where you're at? And so I think it's definitely, are you happy with where you're at? Have you, done enough? So I think I've been successful, but I haven't succeeded. Do you know what I mean? So like I've ticked off a few of my dreams in terms of I'm now a professional soccer player and I play professionally. I've made a debut and stuff like that, but I haven't fully completed my dreams. So I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. So do I want to play at Man United? Yes. Do I want to win Champions Leagues, World Cups, all that stuff? So I won't be satisfied, until I've got to that level. So I'm successful, but I haven't succeeded. That's kind of how I look at it.
That's a perfect answer. Well, JT, it's been a pleasure having you on. Johan, is there anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Yeah, I want to ask you. We ask everyone this all the time. Who would you like to see next time ChumChat?
Ooh, let's do Tucker. Let's do Tucker. I want to hear what this guy has to say for himself.
All right, sounds good. We'll reach out to Tucker Lepley himself, see what he's got to say. But yeah, bro, we appreciate you coming on, making the time. We know you're a busy guy. Quick backstory on how we got to this pod today. So I think we had scheduled this 2 weeks ago. JT goes, yeah, bro, I'm good for Wednesday. And so Wednesday comes around and he goes, bro, I completely forgot I have a game today or on Wednesday. And I was like, all right, say no more. We'll do next Wednesday. He goes, is next Wednesday okay? And I was like, yeah, of course. And so today's Thursday, by the way. And so yesterday or Tuesday, I hit him up like, bro, I completely forgot I play on Wednesday too. Like I play this Wednesday. So we gotta push it back. And so I guess that's the difficulties of trying to film with footballers and obviously me being a footballer myself. But we made it work. Thank you for giving us an hour of your time, brother. And yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, that's it for me, man. Enjoyed it all. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Anthony, our editor, will have your Instagram popped up throughout the entire time. So go show him love, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And like we always say, go find your success. Deuces.